Hello everybody, welcome to UKPM Surviving Outdoors here on YouTube, and in this latest UKPrepperman video we are talking about growing your own. Stay tuned. So here we are, and yes, in this video we are talking about growing your own, and by that I mean growing your own fruit and veg, a home garden. Now, we've all been in a supermarket at one time or another and found that some of the items have either become very soft, maybe not in the best condition, and you've gone back the following day thinking, yeah, they've been restocked, only to find that stock deliveries haven't come in and that item is no longer available to purchase. It's not just about current events, okay? It's about, anything maybe to do with the weather or supply chain, okay? We've had it in winter time before where stocks have run low and then items have had to be purchased by those supermarket chains, from other countries, and the price of everything's suddenly gone up. I think last year the price of a lettuce went from 50p to £1.50, so that's a good increase, okay? Maybe not a massive amount of money in the grand scheme of things, but it's still an increase. Now, obviously, food is fuel, and it's important to make sure that we are getting the nutrients. I did a video a while ago about stockpiling items and whether or not that was a good idea, the type of items that you could, and you're talking about dried goods, canned goods and that side of things, but I never really touched on the fresh stuff apart from saying you could put it in the freezer. This is a great example. Effectively, again, you're talking about space, and the freezer requires power to run. So I have this idea that if you have a home garden, you can grow your vegetables, you can grow your fruit, and not only are you going to be saving money, you know where it's come from. At the end of the day, some of this stuff, where's it come from, where's it been, so on and so forth. All right, it's cheap, again, because you can buy the seeds, but it takes time to do. Okay, so here we are on the 1st of March, white rabbits, and now is the time really to be cracking on. Even though the wind has been getting up today, the weather's not been brilliant over this last few weeks at all. Now is the time really to push yourselves, get out into the garden, get things tidied up and ready to go. Okay, now I keep my seeds in a little seed box, and they're all compartmentalised, so I've got them all in the right order for where I need them. I'm making sure that I'm using ones in sort of order of grow. And how I do that is I've got this little planner which came with ironically some seeds a while ago. I've just put it in a waterproof covering, sort of laminated it so it doesn't sort of degrade any more than it's already degraded, but it's brilliant because you just literally follow down the months of the year, so to know what to grow at what time, what to harvest at what time. Okay, now the garden is looking a bit bare at the moment. Fruit trees aren't going to fruit in March. However, the rhubarb is doing really, really well. I think it sort of died off just before Christmas, and then by mid-January it was already starting to come back. And if you haven't got the best soil in the world, rhubarb is brilliant to grow. Just find somebody who has got some rhubarb, ask for a bit of it. Normally at the end of the day you split the root, look it up, plant that. It'll then grow, and then what you can do is you can carry on splitting that at the end of each growing season, and you can create more and more, and it really will grow anywhere. The soil quality where I'm growing ours is not brilliant, but it is free draining. It's a raised bed, so it's not going to get too waterlogged, which is the real killer for that sort of stuff. But it grows every year. Okay. Now, I created the raised beds for the veg garden about 2-3 years ago now, and it was a big job. Yes, there was a cost involved, and yes, it took a lot of time. Obviously, the only time I've been able to do it is to slot it in at weekends along with everything else that has to be done. But it's paid dividends because every year, with the exception of last year, which wasn't brilliant, we've had a good harvest, and you can grow, obviously, your beans, you can grow your carrots and everything like that. Say you haven't got the space to do that, you can still grow things in pots, and even the smallest apartment will have space, I'm sure, to have a couple of pots there, maybe to grow stuff. Okay, so just back to the seeds. The seeds that I buy, normally I can buy in sort of a random selection of places. It's really, they're so common now. You can buy them in home goods stores, you can buy them in supermarkets. The seeds that I bought recently were from, a pretty well-known supermarket that were doing I think 7 packs for £1 in one of the ranges. Quite how much they'll yield, I don't know, but it's certainly worthwhile taking a look out. And I keep them all in a seed box, so I've got them all in order, got them all in growing order. Now the idea of the seed box, of course, it's basically a portable growing garden, isn't it? If there was a situation where you had to leave and you had to grow your own food, you had to grow your own fruit and veg, then having seeds is the ability, is essential to be able to do that. Alright, and at the end of the day, people sort of think, well, if you go on a bug out situation, you're going to take your 72-hour bag with 3 days worth of food in, and you're going to be okay, and then you're just going to go and hunt things. Well, in an ideal world that's going to work, but this is, a really good way and little bit of a thought, of keeping some seeds with you. Maybe just a few seeds in a smaller packet within, some bit of your bug out bag, your inch bag. But with it being in the case that I've got here, this secures nicely. That can actually then go into the vehicle, and if I was at a location, I can then start planting straight away. And of course, some things don't take that long to germinate, so it's a good idea to have that along with any other tools that are needed to sort of facilitate that process. Okay. It's a good idea to look at doing organic growing. You're going to get more goodness and less things like pesticides. But I think when you're doing home grow, the trick is be careful on what you're using. Things like pesticides, it's not a good idea to use, because spraying all that sort of stuff on top of your vegetables is not great. And if you grow things correctly, there's a thing that's called companion planting, and I'm not going to go into too much of it now, but if you look it up online, it is a big bonus that avoids having to use pesticides. And again, planting things correctly, harvesting them at the right time. Things like your carrots, for example, bearing in mind that carrots that are susceptible to carrot fly, they only have to be a certain distance off the ground. I think it's something like around about 3 foot off the ground, which is about 90 centimetres. Carrot fly is lower than that, and admittedly I've planted all mine in tall planters and never had any problems at all. You can of course use a range of carrot which is more resistant against carrot fly, so again, some things to look into. Alright, so I'm going to crack on with getting this garden tidied up, but I thought I'd just do this video just as a little bit of a pointer. We talk a lot about stockpiling, we talk a lot about getting that food, getting that canned and tinned food, and yes, absolutely it's worthwhile having. But in terms of fresh food, have a think about growing your own, because not only is it cheaper, but it is sustainable. It's something that you can get into that routine with doing, give you crops all year round. Things like your potatoes, you've got your first earlies, second earlies, main crops, you've got a later crop that you can do. You can conceivably have potatoes all the way through the year, and you just put the tubers in, happy days, you are growing stuff, okay, which is good. Food for fuel, guys. So it's definitely worthwhile having a a source of reference for this sort of thing, and the no nonsense vegetable gardening book, definitely worthwhile getting that if you can and have a read through that. Herbs and Health, another recommendation, loads of information in this, and of course the Green Pharmacy, well renowned, great book full of loads of useful information. And I'm sure we've all got food for free in our 72-hour bags as well. Something that small, doesn't take up much space, not very expensive, so definitely worthwhile getting some reference material to look through. Loads and loads of information, that sort of thing. And of course we have the biker that's going past at about 60 mile an hour. What was that? It's not just me that likes these books. I think the cat likes them too. You saying hello, Jess? So there we have it. That is just a little video about growing your own fruit and veg, which I hope's given you some inspiration. If it's been something you thought about doing but haven't done it, go outside and do it. It's really easy, honestly. You know, just get yourself some books, get yourself out in the garden, start growing, save yourself some money, and again, you know, have fun. You've got loads of time as well. It is only just into March, so get cracking and yeah, save yourself some money. All right. You know, if you have enjoyed this video, check out my Instagram, because you'll see future updates on that, so give me a follow on that if you want. And if you've enjoyed this video, hopefully you'll like these as well. Of course, please like, share and subscribe at the bottom, and any comments, love to hear them. Until next time, thanks for watching and bye for now.